So you think you're just going to offer less on a house that you like and use that extra money to go to renovations, right? Not actually how it works. Let's talk about it though. So let's say a house is offered at $400,000 and you want to offer $390,000. You don't just get $10,000 back at closing. Your loan amount is still based on what your contract price was and whatever down payment you were going to bring. So if your original purchase price was $400,000 and you were planning on bringing a 10% down payment, you were going to be bringing $40,000. Now you've offered $390,000 with your 10% down payment, you're now bringing $39,000. The rest of your closing costs remain the same. Attorney fees, lender fees, taxes, all the good stuff. So you're not getting that $10,000 back to go towards renovations, unfortunately. If so, everyone would just bid under and under and under and try to just pocket a bunch of cash. Not quite how it works, but let's talk about what your options could be to do those renovations. So let's say you're looking at homes that are maybe a little bit below what your kind of national average is for homes or what your state average is, but you're finding a lot of them need significant work. They've got the kitchens from the 80s or 90s, the carpet is disgusting, the roof is really old, there are multiple parts of the home, like the bathrooms, that are just need to be gutted, and you know this is way too much money for you to just pull out of pocket to do those renovation loans. The good thing is there are loans specifically for this. A good example is called the FHA 203K loan. That's the most common one. There's also a conventional one called Home Style. But what these loans allow you to do is they allow you to wrap in those costs that it's going to take you to renovate the house into your loan, as long as those renovations will increase the price and value of the home to what you're trying to take out the loan for. So let's go back to our $400,000 price point. Now let's say this $400,000 house is a perfect house, size-wise, lot-wise, area-wise for you, but it just really needs a ton of updates. With the updates you were going to do, like updating the kitchen, updating the roof, updating the HVAC, that house would typically appraise at $450,000. So what you could do is you could do a renovation loan and take that $50,000 that you need to renovate it and put it into your loan. And now your purchase price is $450,000 instead of $400,000. And then you're bringing your down payment like normal. FHA 203Ks typically require 3.5% as a minimum, but some people would put more down. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but if this house is going to be gutted out through the first couple of months, what am I supposed to do? I can't live in it like that. I've got to continue to rent. I can't make both payments. The good thing is with these type of loans, there's typically up to 6 months worth of your payments that can be financed into the loan as well. So that way you're not making both payments. So instead of $450,000, you may have $456,000, for example. So you'll have a couple of months worth of your payments. It's already prepaid and financed through the loan. So that way you're not juggling both and you're not living in a house that's in shambles. However, nothing but so amazing is always so easy, right? So there are caveats with these type of loans. Number one is the renovations have to be completed by a licensed contractor. This is not the type of loan where you and your handy dad are coming in and tearing out walls like you saw on HGTV, right? This has to have licensed contractors performing the work. They have to have bids ready of how much it's going to cost. Because again, if those renovations can only take the house up to around $450,000, your contractor can't send over invoices for $70,000 unless you're going to bring that difference between. So the work has to match what the value is going to be, or you've got to provide that difference in a higher down payment. So it's got to be a licensed contractor. They do need to be ready to finish the build renovation pieces, usually within 6 months or less. This is not something where they're going to go in and gut out the house and spend a year rebuilding it. At that point, you're doing a custom construction loan. And there are also caveats to what that money can be used for. So it can be used for typical renovations, again, gutting bathrooms, gutting kitchens, roof, HVAC, floors, carpets. What it typically cannot be used for are for things that are considered more aesthetic. So you're not going to be building a big shed or a massive garage for your man cave. You're not going to be putting a pool in. Things that were not originally part of the home's design don't need to be renovated. You're talking about an addition. And that's typically more where a HELOC would come into play or a second lien on the home to do those type of renovations. This is really to renovate things that make the home better and worth more in value and are falling apart. These type of loans can also come in handy if you're already under contract. Now, let's say you were under contract with an FHA loan and the house had a lot of issues during the inspection period and you're really concerned that this is the house you love, but the inspection issues are just too much for you. Depending on what the inspection issues are, we could look at whether or not that would actually qualify to utilize an FHA 203K loan. or the conventional home style loan, and include that renovation piece in your new loan to be able to fix those items if it's the house that you really love. Now, if it's something major, like you've got substantial foundation issues, you may pass. But if it's other things like the roof, for example, you're more worried about, an HVAC, then a renovation loan may actually work so you can still get the house. I warn everyone, renovation loans are not for the weak though. It is a lot of extra underwriting processes, a lot of extra paperwork, higher closing costs. So this is not your fun, easy breezy FHA loan. However, it is an amazing loan that can definitely help you get into these homes that may be at a better price point for you, but are sitting dated in the past. If you have questions of how to use a renovation loan, send me a message and I'm happy to help.